You also did the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I wrote Return to Glory, the story of the Cleveland Browns. Came out in 1965. It was one of the best-selling sports books in the country. And it was on after the Browns won their last championship, 64.
What did you learn about the Browns and its history, which started off in the American Conference?
All-American.
And they,
What did I learn about him? Well, I was a good friend of Paul Brown's. Paul, I used to write a sports column for the Sun newspapers in Cleveland. It was a weekly newspaper. And so Paul's son, Mike, who now owns the team, played at Shaker High School. And I'd go over there on Saturdays a lot to, do a column on the game. And I'd sit with Paul and talk with him. And I covered the Browns from 51 through 58. With the International News Service folded up in May of 1958. So, and I didn't miss a Browns game in 5 years. And I also worked on the broadcast of the games with Bob Neal, who was the announcer. So I loved the Browns in those days. And Paul Brown got very disappointed with the turnout, in terms of fans. And he almost went back to Ohio State. In the early 50s, there was a Bring Back Brown movement in Columbus. And Governor Bricker at the time supposedly put the kibosh on him coming back.
during that time period, there was Otto Graham, Dante Lavelli, Max Speedy, among others.
Marion Motley. There are about 15 guys from that era in the Hall of Fame, including the coach.
Did you enjoy covering that as much as or better than baseball?
Well, by that time, they're two different sports. I don't know. Baseball sometimes puts me to sleep. I mean, the one thing about it, if you go to a football game, it's going to be over in 2 hours and 30 minutes. You go to a baseball game, you could be sitting there for 5 hours. In my young days, I had the patience for that. Now I don't have it. I can't sit up and watch TV all night while they're playing.
With the Browns, was there a favorite player that you just kind of either liked to interview?
No, Otto Graham.
What was he like?
He was a real nice, down-to-earth guy. Those guys were all different than today. There were no loud mouths. Guys didn't usually get in trouble. And Paul Brown kept a pretty tight lid on the players.
Jimmy Brown, did his paths cross when you were there?
Jimmy Brown?
Yeah.
Sure. Jimmy Brown was I was doing advertising at the time, and I used him a couple times as a spokesman for a couple of my clients.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I don't have it anymore, but I had an autographed copy of his book off my chest.
Yeah. What was he like?
Jimmy Brown, when I was writing the book on Ohio State, when I was writing the book on the Browns, I asked Paul Brown, what do you think about Jim Brown? And he said he's a great runner, period. He didn't like him a lot. Well, he was accused of throwing his girlfriend off the balcony of Howard Johnson's Motor Lodge. He was a rough guy then and probably now, although I saw him walking in the airport last year. He looks like he's 100 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
I had a chance to interview Lou Groza.
Yeah. Another great Cleveland.
And we got to doing the same thing, asking about particular players. And we got to Jimmy Brown. He just stared at me, smiled, and said, next question.
Yeah. He was a great runner. He really was. And the Browns had a lot of really good players. From 46 through 54, 55, they were in the championship game every year. They played in 6 versions of the Super Bowl. There was no Super Bowl at that time. And won the All-America Conference 4 times. And then in the first game of the 1950 season, when the Browns were in the National Football League, they paired the Browns with the Philadelphia Eagles, the champions in the NFL. And the Browns beat them 35-10. Went on to win the NFL East, played or tied and played the New York Giants, beat the Giants, and then played the Cleveland Rams, the LA Rams. The Rams were in Cleveland and won the NFL championship in 1945. And then when Arthur McBride, who owned the taxi cab company, started the Browns in 46, the Rams left Cleveland and went to LA and became the LA Rams. Now fast forward to 1950, the championship game, the Rams versus the Browns. Browns first year in the league, and the Rams, the former Cleveland Rams. And Lou Groza kicked a 28-yard field goal, and the Browns won 30-28.